major restrictions to their public transportation. Millions of people are in quarantine. Just one day ahead of the Chinese New Year holiday, rail stations across the province have largely shut down. Flights have been suspended and police checkpoints have been set up on main roads. Well, 26 people have died so far after contracting the virus, which attacks the respiratory system. Beijing has confirmed the number of people who have died from a new type of respiratory virus in China has now passed 40.
Welcome to the British Embassy Kerry Centre officers. To hear the menu in English, press 1.
欢迎致电英国驻。
The British Embassy Kerry Centre officers is now closed.
There's also been another worrying report in The Lancet, which is the doctors warn the coronavirus carriers may show no symptoms of illness. This is kind of worrying because obviously you could be walking around with the virus and not know you have it. The situation in Hong Kong at the moment is pretty calm. Tried to call the embassy today, the British embassy, but they're closed. We feel fine in ourselves really though. I mean, we're not showing any signs or symptoms. But like I said, that report which has come out last night or today is kind of worrying. So it's increasingly likely that we will get checked for this.
More than 80 people have died since the outbreak started, and there are estimates that nearly 6,000 people have been infected.
Hong Kong has now closed the border to Hubei residents and anyone who has visited Hubei in the last 14 days. The number of cases officially is now 2,510. And the number of deaths is now officially 80. So those numbers have jumped in a day quite considerably. A number of questions still remain. We don't know what to do really. Should we leave? Should we stay? We're still not showing any symptoms. We don't know if we have contracted the virus or not. We're in a fucked up situation here, aren't we?
China is urging its citizens not to travel abroad as it struggles to contain the virus that has now killed more than 100 people. The total number of confirmed cases is now at more than 4,500.
Hong Kong's leader, Carrie Lam, has been outlining measures that include restrictions on high-speed train and ferry services.
One of the keys to controlling the epidemic is to substantially reduce the flow of people between the two places.
Hundreds of British citizens waiting to be flown home from the worst affected region will be put in quarantine for 2 weeks on their return to the UK. Passengers will apparently be asked to sign a contract, agreeing to commit to what's called supported isolation, though the location of that is not yet known. British Airways has suspended all direct flights to and from mainland China because of the outbreak.
We're still in a situation, we still don't know which way is up, we don't know what we're doing. We do, however, have a flight booked. We don't know if we can get on that flight. I've been in contact with the UK Embassy, the Hong Kong Consulate, the Beijing Embassy, and all the relevant authorities that I can to try to get advice on what to do. They basically said, we can't advise you in the situation, so they can't tell me what to do. And I get that this is a very fluid, very fast-moving situation, and I guess that there's a lot of pressure on the Foreign Office at the moment. The people in Wuhan are actually being evacuated sometime tomorrow, or we think it's tomorrow. So they've got that to look forward to. I phoned the airline, and I've also phoned the agency who I booked the tickets through, and asked for their advice, but they cannot, as they can only offer advice if you're in the mainland, or they can only refund or change flights if you're in the mainland. So the next step is to just go to the airport and explain the situation there and see what happens. The Brits in Wuhan who have been evacuated will go into a quarantine period somewhere. I'm not sure what I should do or what we should do, so I'm trying to find that out, but no one can offer me any advice at the moment. So, you know, for the last 2 weeks it's just been a crazy time, and this is the next thing, the next crazy thing that's happening. So I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to find out in about 6 hours, so yeah.
When we got to the airport, I immediately went to check-in staff. Luckily there wasn't a big queue, and I explained the situation, that we've come from Wuhan last week. Didn't care at all. They just said whatever, there's no restriction on flying, so we can fly. So I asked them to put us away from everybody else, and they agreed to do that, but obviously they can't guarantee it will stay like that. So yeah, that's it. I mean, it's another chapter of the story, I guess, and we'll see what happens.
To prevent novel coronavirus infection, travelers should maintain good personal hygiene at all times. Avoid travel to Wuhan of Hubei province and close contact with persons with fever or respiratory symptoms in countries or areas with possible transmission of novel coronavirus infection. If it is unavoidable, put on a surgical mask and continue to do so until 14 days after returning to Hong Kong. If you develop fever or other symptoms after returning to Hong Kong, wear a surgical mask and consult a doctor immediately, and proactively inform the doctor of any recent travel history. If you feel unwell or suspect having novel coronavirus infection, please approach staff of the Department of Health immediately for follow-up. Thank you for your cooperation.